My guest is Scott Harrison, celebrity PT, the world's first menopause specific 75-day fitness and eating plan. That sounds fantastic. Welcome, Scott.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Now this sounds really fascinating. I've read a little bit about what you do. We'll get into it in a bit because, as I'm sure you can imagine, many of my audience are struggling. They're struggling with menopause symptoms, perimenopause symptoms, and one of the things that I talk about all the time is the fact that um, you know there's something wrong at the moment in this country with the way women rock up to a GP and they say, oh, I've got anxiety, I've got mood swings, I can't sleep very well, I think I'm menopausal. Oh, okay, well, have some antidepressants, have
Yes.
some HRT, possibly both. And they're not even asked about their drinking. That's interesting. But we'll get into all of that. But before we do, just tell me a bit more about you. Tell me about the stuff that you do generally and how you got into doing it all. Because I think I read you were, didn't I see a picture of you called Fat to Fit Dad or something like that?
Yeah, you might have seen that as well.
Yeah, yeah.
So, so, so I'm going to try and cut a really long journey short for you, just to give you the sort of overview. Back in December 2015, I was picking up the kids from school on a rare occasion. I was looking at all the parents, and sorry, parents, but it was very apparent as their kids were running out to their role models that they were overweight, poisoned looking, some were waddling, they couldn't even walk properly. And I was just looking, thinking, oh, this isn't good. And then I realized I was one of them. So I decided that my New Year's resolution in the following month of January, this 2016, I was going to get a six pack. And I chose 90 days back then because that's kind of the time that people say is 12 weeks, 3 months, 90 days, you have a big change. I blogged it on Facebook. 36 people wanted to join me. I said, I'm going to do this properly. So if you're in, no messing. Anyway, the results that we got at the end of that program were kind of like people can believe what had happened. So I was begged to do another one. The following September, I decided, all right, I'll do another one. 120 joined up. Then I realized that I had something that, one, I love doing, but two, I was very good at. And let's cut a long story short, jump forward almost 10 years. We have tens of thousands of participants every year in 90 countries across the world, aged 18 to 86. Various abilities, disabilities, Olympians, celebrities, people that that's never seen a gym, every chronic illness you can think of, coming from ME, MS, fibromyalgia, eczema, psoriasis, Crohn's, IBS, menopause, diabetes type 1 and 2, sleep apnea, scoliosis, Hashimoto's. I could go on for hours, by the way, all come into a much more manageable level or into complete remission. So we've spent the last 9.5 years really changing and in a lot of ways saving people's lives. And it's become an absolute one blessing to be a part of it, but also a massive movement. But one of the biggest things that we were finding was that when it came to the menopause, we were within weeks life changing. As many things, but this was obviously half of the world is going to go through menopause. So this was really sort of like staring us in the face. And so how I came along with this menopause specific program, and bear in mind, ladies, I'm not pretending I know everything. I'm an imposter. I've stumbled on this in a lot of ways. It's been an amazing side effect of our original programs. But I was having professionals all over the country calling me and saying, Scott, what are you doing? My client's been with you for like 2 weeks. They've got no symptoms anymore. So I then went out to Malta on a business trip, and I was in a podcast there from the amazing Trudy Kerr, who's got a podcast called The She Word. And it's only ladies that go on this podcast. There's 4 of them. They sit around a table. And I was lucky enough to get a special invite to come and sit around the table. And what they were all telling me was that they feel like the forgotten people. It's easier to find help for erectile dysfunction for men than it is for women and menopause. And as I came out of that meeting or that podcast, it really stuck in my brain. I thought, well, I'm not going to forget you. And then I went to work and did everything menopause that you could. I got everyone around me, the best in the business, spent the last year or so creating this menopause specific program for ladies at this time of life.
So I'm guessing that
And
you also got fit along the way.
well, I was fit from, yeah, when I was, I'm 52 this year. When I was 42 was when I started it, or when I was an overweight dad bod, one of the parents in the playground that I was looking at and was staring back at me, you know. So I've been on this journey myself, along with tens of thousands of men and women now. And so we've seen what it works. And what we've done is we've took what we already know and what we already do and then wrapped it in menopause. So that there's a safe space for, obviously, ladies at this time of life, where we can manage the symptoms. And you are very right, there is no alcohol whatsoever on any of my programs, regardless of menopause, because that is, of course, going to just hold you back. It's kind of a bit of what's the word? A thing on Six Pack that's well known for almost unintentionally getting people sober, and then many of them do stay sober. So you'll be very pleased with me.
Yeah, definitely. That's, I mean, I've just seen it with my own eyes. So many of my clients have they're on HRT or antidepressants or whatever. They quit alcohol and they just discover they no longer need. I'm not saying nobody needs those medications. Of course, some people do, but many don't. Many find that when they actually quit alcohol and put the other rest of the work in, they no longer need those medications. So it is incredible. But talk me through how it works then in terms of, well, let's just talk about food first, because what specific foods would you say help us when it comes to what hormone friendly recipes might you be suggesting, for example?
So we eat 6 times a day on the program in the way of 3 meals and 3 snacks. We do not focus on calories. And this is why the program outperforms all others, because most programs, it's calories in, calories out, nothing else matters. And that's not true.
Yeah,
We
absolutely.
give you a balanced plates of food, balanced throughout the day with plenty of hydration. And what that does is, when you eat this way, you build a machine that works at its optimum. When it works at its optimum, it burns fuel efficiently, which is fat. So when ladies say in their time of menopause, oh, I've got the menopause belly and all this stuff, you can change that. It's because of what you're eating as well. So, because we have just as much success with menopausal ladies as not. And when you eat this way, you balance your hormones, you build this machine that works at its optimum. When it works at its optimum, it burns the fuel, it builds the muscle, your hair, your skin, the whites of your eyes, your teeth and your nails all become more radiant. Like I explained about the chronic illnesses start to disappear, because most chronic illnesses come from inflammation, which is from your diet. And then we, on the food side, it's people can't believe it, because at the beginning they say, I can't eat all this food, and I say, still eat it, even if you're not hungry, eat it, because in
Give
a
us an
few weeks you'll be
example.
begging.
What kind of food would you be recommending? What kind of meals are good for us in
Well, we give
menopause?
all the recipes. So we would give hundreds of recipes, and there's tens of thousands of variations. So what I mean by that is we've got curries, lasagnas, bologneses, pizzas, but we all make it all ourselves, and there's a specific balance on the plate at the same time.
So
So
would
for
you say
example,
foods, that we hear about, like, legumes and edamame beans, those kind of things, would you say that those kind of foods can be supportive for hormones?
only if you're eating them in the right quantity on the plate with whatever else is on that plate. What people don't understand is, so for example, let's say you was going to have a bowl of couscous at 12 o'clock today. You would have an insulin spike. Now, your body spikes insulin every time you eat. But what you don't want is those big lifts and crashes. Like if you have a deep pan pizza, you feel great for 2 minutes and you want to go to bed.
Mm.
That's what we don't want inside our body. And a lot of people don't realize that's going on. But if I had a palm size and thickness piece of chicken that was stir fried in a teaspoon of olive oil, healthy fats, any garlic, chili, spices, herbs, whatever you want, squeeze a lemon juice, whatever. At the same time, at 12 o'clock today with that couscous, then there would be a completely different reaction in your body. But you still had the bowl of couscous at the same time. So it's really important what goes in at the same time, which people don't quite understand. If you've
Yeah.
had the couscous first and an hour later the chicken, it doesn't happen the same.
So it's the balance
That's
of the
where the hormonal,
proteins and the fats. Yeah, I get it.
yes,
And what about the
that's
whole
where the
sugar
hormonal
picture?
balance comes.
Yeah, absolutely. Talk to me about sugar, because of course, many people who are quitting alcohol, particularly if they're also menopausal, they get that big sugar head on, because they're no longer having the alcohol. What are your recommendations there around how we satisfy that sweet tooth, without doing a whole bunch of damage?
Well, there are so many dishes that you can make that have fruit, which is your carbohydrates. For example, Greek yogurt, protein, nuts, healthy fats. Make that little bowl up. You're satisfying your sweet craving. That's just one thing. And there's so many things. We make cakes, we make cookies, but we make them with whole ingredients, and we're not sticking them full of butter or any. We don't add any sugar, but we can still make tasty biscuits and cakes and stuff as well. Which people, to be fair, there's quite a lot of it out there at the moment. But again, there's always that misbalance. If you know the balance, then that's when the hormonal balance comes in. And then what? Also, I try and teach people that, and I've seen you do this on, or heard, I should say, on some of your podcasts where you talk about the mindset that where you step further out from the physical and you start to work on your mindset. So I always tell people that the body is a bit like a child. If you take something away from it, it's going to sulk.
Yeah, if it feels
If you
deprived,
give
yeah.
it, if you give it back, it will just keep asking for it.
Yeah.
But if you take it away and you don't give it back, and the child realizes that you're not going to give in, what does it do? It plays happily with what it's got. But you've got to get through that it's a short time of not giving in to the sulky child, you taking control of yourself, and then you decide what you eat. And it doesn't mean that you can't have a piece of chocolate again or a bag of crisps or whatever it is. It's just that you won't be held to ransom by it anymore.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
that's where in my program we work a lot on the mind as well at the same time.
Yeah. How do you find that women are able to fit it all in then? Because obviously if you're eating 6 meals a day, do you encourage people to meal prep and plan ahead, or because obviously we're busy, right?
We're all busy, and the men as well. And we've all got, I mean, I've got two mums with 7 kids each. Now that is busy. Um, I've got people working 3 jobs, awful shifts, long haul pilots. But the truth of the matter is, if you want the body, mind, and life of your dreams to truly live instead of exist, you're going to have to put in some effort. But if you follow the meal prep the way I teach it, you should have more time to yourself than you do currently.
Mm.
So what I mean by that is my favourite dish of the six pack revolution, well, in my top 5, is called the salmon and goji berry curry. It's so good. I will make 6 portions of that, and that will take about 25 minutes. It's a curry, so it all just goes in a pot. I'm not going to make one portion. So now I've got 2 to 3 days worth of meals. This took me 25 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you don't do it and you're making one at a time, then you're not, you're making it hard on yourself.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
it doesn't. So, if you want to put this little bit of effort in, and at the end of my program, I also teach everyone how to keep their results and still party twice a week. And partying doesn't mean getting hammered. What I mean is, you can be sitting in front of the TV, watching a movie, having some Ben and Jerry's or whatever it is, and still keep your results. But you've got to build a body that can battle that stuff off. Whereas at the moment, if you're overweight and you're sluggish and you haven't looked after yourself, every time you have something a little bit naughty, it just adds to the misery.
Yeah.
Whereas if you build a
Yeah.
body that can burn it, you know,
I mean, there'll be a lot of women thinking, well, this is sounding a bit too good to be true. If I can eat 6 times a day and eat what sounds like really lovely, healthy food, that really going to shift that, menopause belly?
it does. And it does freak a lot of people out because they say, how did I eat all this food and just drop 3 dress sizes? Sometimes we go from an 18 to a 10 in one wave of the program, no saggy skin, because we feed and nourish you to fat loss. We don't starve and malnourish you to it. So it's a different way. We're burning the fat. We're not losing the muscle. So the more muscle you've got, the more fat you burn when you're not training. Also, again, because I keep the calories up. This is going to freak everyone out, actually. You just made me think of something. The quickest, healthiest way to lose fat is on the most calories possible. Now, while everyone's going, well, I've just watched social media and everyone's telling me I've got to drop my calories through the floor. If you drop your calories through the floor, you're going to bring your metabolism down. If you're already out of shape, your metabolism is already down, right? So that's the last thing you want to do. It's slower and it doesn't work. And as soon as you eat something a bit heavy, then it all goes back on again. So, for example, let's say, I don't like to talk calories, but for this example, I'll give it. let's say your maintenance calories per day were 2,200, let's just say. You would lose more fat quicker, healthier, balance your hormones, reduce the inflammation or get rid of it, sort out your chronic illnesses, etc., on 1,900 calories than you would on 900. Because on 900 calories, you are malnourishing yourself.
Mm.
So you're now starving yourself. Your body's holding on to fat for dear life. And it will start eating into the muscle before it attacks that fat. Because if the body's stressed, the first thing it does is hold on. Now, a lot of people say, well, if that's true, then starving people would be fat. Of course not. Don't be silly. If you are actually starving yourself, eventually your body will have to eat itself. And then it's. We had a lady, she did the 800 calories a day for 365 days before coming to six-pack. And she lost a stone in a month. Her next 11 months, she only lost 2 pounds. In 11 months on 800 calories, it's like 1.5 meals.
Mm.
Her hair fell out. She couldn't function properly, couldn't get out of bed, etc. So that's not how to lose weight. And it's slower as well. People think it's going to be faster. It's slower. So if you keep those calories up, then you're nourishing yourself. The body gets everything it needs to thrive. Then it starts to work at its optimum. And then all of those results I'll tell you about coming. And if you look on our socials, we show every week, we show, so out the year, we show thousands and thousands of results. We're the only program that does that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're all.
I like the fact that, I'm guessing what you're talking about is eating real food. I mean, for me, that's the important thing here is that I never talk about calories ever, but I do talk for people who are in early sobriety, particularly the importance of eating real food, and having protein with every meal. It makes all the difference in the world. And I've seen clients who are, they literally are, they look so, just kind of, bloated and unhappy and stressed, and literally
You
just
are
by
what you
having
eat.
real food. Yeah, just real
You just come
food.
alive.
Well,
You
sometimes
just
I
come alive.
think
And the body's
like,
a great thing because it
yeah,
bounces back quick.
exactly
Same
it
with
really
alcohol.
is. It's incredible
Talking
that.
about
Sorry, carry on.
talking about alcohol, and Andy Ramage,
Yeah, of course.
and
Yeah.
his wife has done my program several times, and he whenever he goes on to another podcast, even he was on radio and everything, he always mentions the Six Pack Revolution because he said it's quite funny. He says my wife is on this program, and about 3 weeks in, she takes me to one side. It's some big secret, and tells me how amazing she's feeling. He said, and how healthy she feels, now more alive she feels, now less sluggish she feels. He said, and his secret sauce is that there's no alcohol. But
You
she
don't
hasn't
say.
worked that. Yeah, he said she hasn't worked that out because she thinks she's on a program that's obviously nutrition and mindset and fitness, which it is. But then he said there's a little secret sauce is he doesn't allow any alcohol in the program. Basically, I tell you everyone, if you're coming on and you haven't accepted that, don't bother because you're not
Yeah,
going to. It's not going to
absolutely. Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
And
Um,
he laughs about it and says, "I've been telling you this for 10 years."
Yeah. Tell me about the workouts then, because obviously the fitness is important. And I'll admit, straight up, I have a real issue with it doesn't matter how much I set good intentions, I can't do it. I can't go to the gym. I just can't do it. I do move. I do some dance, I do some yoga, I walk, but I can't do that workout thing. So what are you going to do with someone like me?
Well, the great thing, first of all, is that everything we do can be done from home.
Right.
Now, on the
Okay. Well, that's
menopause
good.
program, on the pause program, we've created it, as I say, for menopausal women. Now we know that bone density and muscle tone and stuff is a problem, especially when you're getting into that age as well as menopause, as we all get older as well. So it's low impact dumbbell exercises. So it's weight training and it's full body and you can do it all in your lounge. We've also got video guided Pilates, which you can follow the lesson all the way through. And that's an option, which is, you've got it there. You do it if you want to do it.
Mm.
Again, working on your core and your pelvic floor and all of that sort of stuff.
How long are the sessions? Because that'll be the bit that will get me if they're too long.
So the Pilates is about 20 minutes. and the depending on how fit you are, the workouts will be between 20 and 40 minutes. So you don't need to spend, I don't get people to work out for hours. You look at the results and think to yourself, they must be training 7 days a week, 2 hours at a time. No, 90% of your results are coming from the nutrition. But exercise, and this is for you, Jamie, exercise should be in your head non-negotiable. Till the day before you leave this planet, you need to exercise. It's good for your bone density, your joints, your inflammation, your anxiety, your sleep, your posture, and it's a massive investment in your future. Every time you switch one thing for some exercise, you're sticking it into your pension pot of life. If you don't want to frame around your toilet when you're older, and you don't want to sit in your bath, and you don't want to stare on the lift, and you want to still run through the forest and walk through the beach, you have to exercise. Don't have the conversation, shall I or shan't I? But it
I know
doesn't
you're
have to
right.
be.
I know you're right.
It's true.
I do know you're right. It's just finding something that you actually do that you can do,
Yeah,
isn't
try
it,
and find
really?
something you love doing, which is always going to
So
stop you
you're just saying you
procrastinating.
would just buy some, presumably not ridiculously heavy weights to start with, just literally buy
Well,
some
no,
weights
I
to
would
use
get
at
a
home.
yeah, well, a dumbbell set is what we're going to use. And that dumbbell set, I'd say 20, 30 kilos of the plates you can add and remove. And the reason I say that is because one, you're going to get stronger. Two, you want to be able to not have to keep switching
Mm.
bars and stuff. So if you've got a little bit more weights than you need, then you've got room to grow, but you've also got everything set up.
Mm.
Obviously, in the Pilates, it's body weight. I mean, we use a bit of dumbbells in that as well. But this is a program as well, by the way. Let me say, obviously, with the Six Pack Revolution, I'm a big face of that. I do all the exercises, I do all the everything. This is going to be for women, run by women, created by women. I'm in the background as a big cheerleader and your biggest fan, and for the mindset stuff. But everything else is on the exercise. Everything's done by ladies, and you're going to be in a group of ladies, whereas the other one's mixed. So this is really sort of like for really tailored for those things to get some real results. Because if I'm honest, and I don't like to talk about other people, but the standard plans, I don't think they really meet the needs. I
Well,
don't
that's what I
mess
was going to
around.
ask you. What do you think is different? You know, what's the essence of what's different with this plan?
What's different is not only have we got the right, and we've got years and years and years of proof of it, and we know that we've got the nutrition correct, but I've got many experts that are going to be sharing their wisdom, coming in doing live Zooms, which you could get somewhere else potentially. But the USP, if you want to know about it, is the support. We are live with you all day, every day. You ask a
Yeah.
question, it's answered in minutes, and so you are supported at every minute of every day, unless you're asleep, obviously.
Mm. Yeah. So that,
So
I mean,
that's
it
why
comes
it's
back to
very different.
what we do with the Sober Club, which is having that community, which makes such a massive difference, doesn't it? When you can connect with like-minded people going through the same thing, and some will be ahead of you and some will be behind you, and that's perfect.
Yeah. And we keep the group small, like they're about 100, including my team. So in each group, you're going to have several coaches and management and myself, and everyone's got access to me as well if they want it. They might not want it, but they have. So it's quite unique in that way that the support is unprecedented.
Mm. And what would you say, what would your advice be or your message be to guys then who are trying to support women who are in the early stages of menopause? Because I think, in fairness, some guys probably just think, what the hell is going on? Well, I don't know how to support this person. I don't even recognize her anymore.
Yeah,
What
well,
would be your
this is
top
kind of
tip?
why, if I'm honest, this is kind of why I got so involved in it because my wife's it just turned 40, well, back in April. She thinks that she's perimenopausal, and we all, I think, the women are the forgotten ones. But now I thought, hang on, there's all these men here that really don't know how to deal with this situation either, and we need to educate them. I need to educate myself.
Yeah.
So believe it or not, I'm actually a menopause wellness practitioner now. I've gone and done the courses and all sorts of stuff. But I don't try and I'm very aware that I'm a man,
Mm.
so I don't try
Mm.
and be a know or anything like that. But yeah, I think it's really important that we need to educate the men as well because if we can then understand that certain things that are happening that aren't the lady's fault and it's going to happen to all women, whether it's your sister, your wife, your girlfriend, your mum, whatever it is, if we can just take a step back and get some education for the men as well, I think that would
Yeah,
be a great thing. It's just a little bit of understanding. But
sure.
if we can also educate the women how to manage it themselves, then there will be less, discombobulation at home anyway, I think.
Yeah.
So it's a
And
team effort.
and of the women that work with you on the programs, then what percentage of them are on HRT or other medication? And what's your view on that? I know it's difficult to speak generically, but typically what have you found?
Well, I'm the holistic guy, aren't
Good.
I? So I believe that everything can be managed without medication. I'm a
I
little bit
agree.
like I'm a little bit, a bit maybe a bit too much like that sometimes. But I also have to step back and obviously listen. And when I listen, HRT has been life changing for a lot of women, you know. And I mean, look, there's many things in the medical industry I don't agree with, and there's a lot of things that I would say that doctors would not like me for. Um, but I can't also ignore the fact that for some women it has been life changing.
Mm.
Now, if I'd have gotten them before they'd gone on the HRT, I might have said to them, maybe just give us a couple of weeks first. Don't go on it yet, and let's see how you feel. But there are obviously a complete mix. I would say it's definitely a majority would be on HRT.
Oh, really?
Um, but I would have said so. I mean, I haven't got a specific statistic. I haven't got that in front of me. But what I would say is that um, we're also blessed that because if they're coming on a program like this, there are a lot of people that are into the holistic side.
Yeah,
They are
yeah.
into. So I do think we get a good majority that wouldn't take the medication as well. But again, you know, so many have said to me that it really did help me, Scott. So I'm not going to
Mm.
turn around and say, well, you shouldn't have done that, you know?
No, absolutely, yeah. No, I get it completely. Brilliant. So, tell us about the how people get involved then. You've got a program starting in September, right?
Yeah, that's it's called Pause. Um, and if you can go to the website pauseby6.com, so pause BYSIX.com or pause by six, the number, either way is going to get you there. Or the sixpackrevolution.com, you can find the program on there as well.
Yeah, I'll
Um,
put the link in the show notes.
okay, and Janie, there was one thing I meant to say to you that I didn't ask at the beginning before we started. But when does this podcast go out?
It will be in August at some point. Can't say
Oh,
exactly.
okay, cool. So I was going to do a discount for your listeners. There's not been any discount on pause at all yet. So is that something you would want me to
Sure, yeah, yeah,
do?
yeah.
Okay, so this is probably a bit of a good guess here, but the discount. So shall I? Are you going to cut this bit out, and I'll just talk now about the discount code?
Yeah, or you can just send it to me in an email, whatever you prefer.
Okay, well it's JLG10
Okay, cool.
for obvious
Yeah,
reasons.
that'd be easy. Yeah,
Um, so yeah, I've done that for your listeners.
perfect. Brilliant. And I'm guessing that in amongst this, you do lots of other stuff as well. What else do you get involved in personally? Do you have one-to-one clients or how do what
No,
else do you do?
I don't do anything one to one. This is going to sound crass unless it's a celebrity,
Fair enough.
because it's worth. I can reach tens of thousands in the same time as I can reach
Yeah,
one.
of course. Yeah.
But if I'm going to, I've Ryland, Sarah Cox, Peter Andre, Sarah Davies, Kimberly Wyatt, loads of people have been a part of Six Pack in one way, shape, or form. And what we, but I don't do anything. But I write books, kids' books, and they are like a bit like personal development for young children.
Oh, great.
Um,
Fantastic.
and so I talk about fitness, nutrition, and
Mm.
mindset within that, and it's all in rhyming. It's a bit Gruffalo-esque, if you like.
Brilliant. Brilliant. We need
So
definitely
I
need
do,
more of that, don't we, in schools?
we do,
For
we
sure.
do, and I've given all my books to all schools. I've given them away,
Brilliant.
um, and I play a little bit of piano and guitar. Um, I used to teach karate, a professional magician, close-up
Oh,
magic as well.
really?
So
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
so I do. I'm creative. in
A
a
lot
lot of
of other
ways.
stuff. Brilliant. Amazing. Well, thank you, Scott. I really appreciate it. It's fascinating.
Well, thank
Um,
you for letting me onto your
yeah.
podcast. And that was slightly different from the usual sober stuff, but it was in there.
Yeah, yeah, totally. No, I mean, my what I do is all about well-being, and doesn't really matter which way you come at it.
No.
Lots of people start with quitting alcohol, and then they realize, okay, so now I want to level up everything else,
Yeah,
and others
yeah,
come to it a
sure.
different way. But anyways, thank you. I really appreciate it. I'll make sure those links go in the show notes, and take care. Hope we get to meet up at some point.
And thank you for having me. If I can
Brilliant.
ever be a part of anything wellness wise with you, just give me a shout and
Yeah,
I'll
will
do that.
do. Brilliant. Thank
Take
you.
care. Thanks. Thanks for having me.